Let's check project settings. For MetaHuman, it's better to increase Viseme curve smoothness parameter to 1. Although you can experiment with other settings if your lip sync isn't detailed enough. Default animation targets here work for auto-generated pose assets, so we don't need to modify them. If you create your own pose asset with Visemes manually, you'd need to modify names of poses here to generate animation sequences. But default Visemes are good enough. Now we can create the pose asset with Visemes. I'm gonna move created assets to common face folder since they're universal for all MetaHumans in my project. We will use standard MetaHuman blueprint without converting it to character blueprint just to save some time. Add audio component to play voice and Ynnk Lipsync controller. Set names of our audio component and controlled skeletal mesh. Our mesh here is the face. As I mentioned before, default animation targets in project settings should work for auto-generated pose asset, so we can copy them to here. But I remove redundant targets here. For MetaHuman, as well as many other meshes, it's usually enough to animate 5 vowels, MBP and FV sounds. Sound wave keeps audio data in compressed form, and it takes some time to prepare audio when we start playing. To avoid desynchronization, set Auto Prime Sound Wave checkbox. You shouldn't set it if you're only going to play lip sync generated in runtime. When you generate Ynnk Voice Lip Sync Data object, it adds asset user data to source sound wave asset. We can use it to get a reference to Ynnk Voice Lip Sync data from Soundwave with GetRelated Lip Sync data function. Final step is to add Lip Sync Player to Animation Blueprint.
Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention.
At first we applied Pose Asset with Visemes in Animation Blueprint, but it's also possible to use it within Ynnk Lip Sync controller.
Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention.
You can see that lip sync animation improved. This is because we had to disable Normalize Curves checkbox in Ynnk Lip Sync controller, and Visemes Pose Asset in this component is applied without normalization.
Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention.
To generate lip sync in runtime, use Recognize Uncompressed PCN data function. It expects audio data with sample's 16-bit sample format. Although you can use resample bitrate function to convert 32-bit float array to 16-bit array.
Words are framed to express a level of thought, which is by no means primitive.
It often makes sense to store Lipsync animation in animation sequence objects and play them instead of using Ynnk Lipsync controller component. But before that, we need to convert simple Visemi curves to MetaHuman facial control curves inside of the Ynnk voice Lipsync data object. Note, the default generation settings for this window are stored in the project settings. Feel free to switch generation settings to get the best result.
Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done.
Now let's play animation sequence. In this setup, we don't need any more Ynnk Lipsync controller component, as well as audio component. We don't use Ynnk Lipsync controller, so we have to prepare sound wave asset manually. We can extract reference to animation sequence from asset user data the same way we did it before with Lipsync reference.
Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention.
And finally, it's possible to apply a Lipsync to existing animation sequence assets with animation data modifier class. Feel free to experiment with its settings. You can create child blueprint inherited from this animation modifier class to cache your generation settings and batch apply modifier to animations in the content browser.
Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention. Well, what can't be done by main courage in war must be done by circumvention.